Hello everybody, this is Gareth Cahoon Speaks back here with another video. This one is going to be about the legal outcome of the founding of the State of Israel and the agreements that made it possible. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar or give me a thumbs up if you like the content, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next video. Or otherwise, you can look me up at my website, which is www.garethcahoon.co.uk. Or if you want to support me in the ministry and sharing the word of the Lord, you can just donate by PayPal at garethcahoon3@gmail.com. I'll just wait for a few minutes to see if there's anyone come on before I start the post. But it's a beautiful day outside, so wouldn't expect many to be on today, but this post was a post that is very timely at the moment and needed to get out. So I'll wait till I've got a few people on. Just say about Israel at the minute, is fighting an existential war on 7 fronts. She needs friends because she's been demonized left, right and centre in the media. There's pro-Palestine marches everywhere. And little Israel, a country the size of New Jersey, is meant to give up the little slither of land that they have, while the larger Muslim world has up to 28 majority Muslim nations, but little Israel's on her own. So this post is going to be, hello Liam Quinn, hello Elaine McCourt, thank you for sharing the live, hello Shaz44 and Manoj Sikar and WPWW. I've got enough people on now to be able to start my live. So this is going to be the legal outcome of the founding of the State of Israel, then known as Palestine, and the agreements that made it possible. At midnight on May 14th, 1948, the Provisional Government of Israel proclaimed a new State of Israel. On that same date, the United States, in the person of the President Truman, recognized the Provisional Jewish Government as de facto authority of the Jewish state. De jure recognition was extended on January 31st, 1949. Another conference that ratified Israel's founding was known as the San Remo Conference, held in April 1920, was a post-World War I meeting of Allied Supreme Council members that determined the allocation of the League of Nations mandate for the administration of the former Ottoman territories in the Middle East. Specifically, it assigned mandates for Palestine, then known as Palestine, but now it's the newly formed State of Israel, Syria and Mesopotamia, later Iraq. The conference also addressed the implementation of the Treaty of Sevres with Turkey and the execution of the Treaty of Versailles. The next document that ratified Israel's birth was known as the League of Nations, played a crucial role in the establishment of mandatory Palestine, now known as Israel, which later became Israel in 1922. The League formally approved the Palestine Mandate, granting Britain administrative control over the region. This mandate incorporated the 1917 Balfour Declaration, which supported the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine, and the mandate also aimed to protect the rights of the existing non-Jewish population. The Balfour Declaration, 1917 declaration issued by the British government in 1917, expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while also emphasising the need to protect the rights of the existing non-Jewish communities there. It was a letter from the Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Lord Rothschild stating that the British government viewed with favour the establishment of the national state of the Jewish people. However, the declaration also included a clause that aimed to safeguard the civil and religious rights of the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, Israel. In essence, the declaration endorsed the Zionist goal of establishing a Jewish homeland in Israel, Palestine, while attempting to balance this with the rights of the existing Arab population. The delicate balance would later become a source of tension and conflict in the region. The next document that ratified Israel's founding was known as the Oslo Accords, offered Israel several key benefits, including the formal recognition of its right to exist by the Palestine Liberation Organization, and the commitment from the PLO to renounce terrorism, which hasn't worked very well to this day. The agreements also led to the establishment of the Palestinian Authority, or the PA, which took on governing responsibilities in parts of the West Bank and Gaza, at resolving permanent status issues such as borders, refugees, and Jerusalem. Furthermore, the Accords boosted Israel's economic integration with the global economy by ending the Arab boycott on companies doing business with Israel. Here's more detailed breakdown: recognition and security. The Oslo Accord marked a turning point where Israel was formally recognised by the PLO, the main representative of the Palestinians at the time. The PLO also renounced terrorism, a significant step in addressing Israel's security concerns, but unfortunately the Palestinian Authority has fallen very short of that mark and has continued with terrorism to this day and paying terrorists who murdered Israel and refusing to stop. Economic benefits. The Oslo process led to the end of the Arab boycott of companies doing business with Israel, allowing Israel to become more integrated into the global economy. Negotiations. The agreements also initiated a process of negotiations aimed at resolving the core issues of the Israel-Palestinian conflict, including borders, refugees, and Jerusalem. These negotiations were intended to lead to a final status agreement and a lasting peace. The United Nations recognized Israel as a member state on May 11, 1949. Following a vote by the General Assembly, this came after the State of Israel was established on May 14, 1948, while the US recognized Israel earlier on May 14, 1948. The UN's formal recognition as a member state took place later. As of June 2024, the State of Israel is recognized as a sovereign state by 164 countries, the other 192 member states of the United Nations. The State of Israel was formally established by the Israeli Declaration of Independence on May 14, 1948, and was admitted to the United Nations as a full member state on the 11th of May 1949. It also maintains bilateral ties with all of the UNSC Permanent Five. Colour chart below represents states that recognise Israel, states that don't, and ones that have cut bilateral ties. In this map that you can see behind me now, the yellow is for the state of Israel, green is for the countries that recognise Israel, brown is for the countries that have withdrawn their recognition, grey is for the countries that have never recognised Israel. For all the anti-Semites, Jew haters and the deniers of history, this chart below or behind me should explain that Israel has a right to defend herself, as she has the legal documents above to prove her existence and the right to live at peace within her own borders. Remember, it was Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis and the head of the snake Iran that first attacked Israel, first killing 1,200 innocent men, women and children in various degrees of murder by raping, burning alive their victims and also taking 250 hostages, which some are still there to this day, and others unfortunately have lost their lives in the tunnels that Hamas has built up in Gaza. These documents you can find on my website at www.garethcahoon.co.uk. Show us where it says it had the right to self-defense. What are you, Palestinian? So you're saying that a sovereign nation doesn't have a right to self-defense? Well, I pity you wherever you live if your people don't believe in self-defense, because that is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Every nation, whether it's small, big or in the middle, has the right to self-defense when they're being attacked. Sure, America dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. The Allied forces during World War I and II carpet bombed Germany. Carpet bomb, not just sticking to military targets, but carpet bombing the homes of the people that lived there. Israel has been surgical in her war and has tried to protect the Palestinian people as much as she can, but Hamas is doing everything they can to Hamas is doing everything they can to stop this war, and is even shooting their own Palestinian people. I'm sure you can see now that I've got a shortbread man beside me here. How are you doing, shortbread man? England declared war on Germany in both wars. Yes, exactly, and attacked them. That's what Israel is at war with Hamas in Gaza. So the match has started. Remember to follow our community guidelines. Stop telling lies. So they weren't defending then, were they? Saved by grace, hello, saved by grace. Yes, they were trying to save themselves, and it's ludicrous to say that a country and a people don't have the right to self-defense. So I'll just ask you a few questions. So they weren't defending, were they? Who wasn't defending? Where's your source for what you say? The sources, if you look up my website at www.garethcahoon.co.uk, I just read the sources, which were the Balfour Declaration, the League of Nations, the San Remo Conference, the UN, America. Look it up. It's so easy to find Palestinian. I just think that, unfortunately, you're far too far gone to realise what you're talking about. And I would maybe reckon that you're a university student who has been taught how many babies were alive. How many babies died on October 7th, did you say? I didn't. I said there was 1,200 men, women and children that were killed on October 7th, and 250 were taken captive into Gaza. And if you want to know where my sources came from, they came from Hamas. It was Hamas that filmed it all on their GoPros and their phones and cameras. They were elated that they killed Jews. They were so excited, and that is just a shame and disgrace. Peace can only be found when people lay down their weapons. You said 5 seconds ago. Being me up then. Let's discuss it. Invite. Hello, Paulia. Hello, Zenek. Thank you for joining. We've been discussing Israel's legal founding. And just for some people who might not have got it, and just for you, Palestinian, I'm going to give you the sources again. Just give us a second. The legal outcome of the founding of the State of Israel, Palestine, and the agreements that made it possible. Now, if you listen to this, at midnight on May 14th, 1948, the Provisional Government of Israel proclaimed a new State of Israel. On that same night, the United States, in the person of the President Truman, recognized the Provisional Jewish Government as a de facto authority of the Jewish state. January 31st, 1949. That's one. The San Remo Conference, which was held in April 1920, was a post-World War I meeting of the Allied Supreme Council members that determined the allocation of the League of Nations mandates for the administration of the former Ottoman Empire in the Middle East. Specifically, it assigned mandates for Palestine, Israel, Syria, and Mesopotamia, later known as Iraq. The conference also addressed the implementation of the Treaty of Versailles with Turkey and the execution of the Treaty of Versailles. The League of Nations played a crucial role in the establishment of the mandatory State of Palestine, now known as Israel, which later became Israel, of course. In 1922, the League formally approved the Palestine Mandate, granting Britain administration control over the region. The mandate incorporated the 1917 Balfour Declaration, which is another declaration that ratified Israel's founding, supported the establishment of a Jewish nation. The mandate also aimed to protect the rights of the existing non-Jewish populations. The Balfour Declaration, issued by the British government in 1917, expressed support for the establishment of a national home. And then the next one is the Oslo Accords, offered Israel several key benefits, including the formal recognition of its right to exist by the Palestine Liberation Organization and commitment from the PLO to renounce terrorism. The agreements also led to the establishment of Palestinian Authority, the PA, which took on government responsibilities in part of the West Bank and Gaza, and initiated a process of negotiations aimed at resolving permanent status such as borders, refugees, and Jerusalem. Furthermore, the Accords boosted Israel's economic integration with the global economy and ending the Arab boycott on companies doing business with Israel. So you see, that is the founding of the State of Israel. So again, you can look it up, Google it, Wikipedia it, Safari it, whatever way you want to look it up. The facts are there. Those were the legal documents that founded the State of Israel. So that is all I'm saying, that Israel is fighting a war on 7 fronts against an enemy that, instead of building hospitals, schools, community centres, play schools, all the stuff that you need to build a society, what does Hamas do? It takes all the money that it gets and puts it into building tunnels, building rockets, and getting firearms, missiles, and all of that to attack Israel. Instead of looking after their own people, they are actually trying to stop Israel and the United States from supplying them with food, because Hamas doesn't want the food to get to the people. It wants the food for itself so that it can sell it to the people. So that is what I stated. So thank you, Teresa, for giving me praying hands. And you can look this live up, look me up on my website, which is www.garethcahoon.co.uk, or otherwise support my ministry with PayPal, garethcahoon3@gmail.com. I'll just say Shalom, Maranatha, and Hallelujah, and Amen.